I've bought a brand new coil. Just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, this rusty old black thing here, that's the original coil. To be honest, it looks like it's really a bit battered about. It looks like it could well have been there for more than 30 years. I'm not going to risk just waiting for it to break down, so I bought a complete new one, a Lucas part. It's rather nicer looking than the one that's on there. For the price of them, it's all wrapped up in nice Lucas paper, and I suspect there'll be some screws inside here. I don't want to drop those. Where are they? Yeah, there they are. Just pop those down here. Let's have a look. So here's the nice new one. It's lovely. For the price of a new one, it was less than £30 delivered. I'm just going to do a direct replacement with this the original component, which is here. If it will go at some point, it might last another year, it might last 5 years, or it might only have a day left in it. At some point they just go, and then when that's gone, there's nothing you can do. The car will not drive. For those of you not familiar with older engines, what a coil does, the coil magnifies the current from the alternator. Well, actually, first of all, from the battery when it starts, and then once it's running from the alternator, and it runs down this central lead into the distributor cap, which is, if I just move the camera ever slightly, see, more modern cars don't have a distributor cap. It's right down there. You can't really see it, but you see all those blue leads. Where those blue leads, they all lead into a central cap, into distributor. Forgive me, those of you that are familiar with old engines. Obviously, this is old news to you guys, but people that are not familiar with old engines, newer engines do not have all of these wires. They're called HT leads, or perhaps in the US they'd be called spark plug leads. They go straight onto the spark plug themselves from a central distributor. Now, the bit in question here, this coil, that magnifies the current, sends it down the central cable to the distributor, and there's an arm inside the distributor that it's got a metal contact, so as it spins round, it makes contact with one of the 6 leads. So that's got permanent current, and the current goes permanently to the distributor, but it's fed 6 ways to the 6 different cylinders. Now, it's a very simple system, and it works brilliantly well. But obviously, if that current is broken, if any of the leads break, you can sort of drive with a broken lead. The car will be misfiring like mad, but it'll perhaps be running on 5 or 4 cylinders if one of the leads, the spark plugs, goes. If the central lead that goes from the coil to the distributor breaks, there's no way you can drive that. It's just the same as if the distributor, the coil itself, if that breaks, you've got no spark. You can, with one broken lead, if one of these leads breaks, you can carry on driving. It'll misfire, but you can drive on 5 cylinders. It'll just feel horrendous, but it'll get you home. Now, more modern engines, they don't have a single coil. They have what's called a coil pack. Each cylinder, each spark plug has a very small coil. It's probably about, I don't know, 1/5 or 1/4 of the size, maybe less. It just sits directly onto each spark plug, and they don't have all of the leads, coming from the central distributor. All of that's done away with on a more modern engine. On my last Jaguar, which was a bit more modern than this, it was from 1996. That was a 6-cylinder straight 6, just like this. And one of the coils in the whole pack broke, but still 5 were running, and I managed to drive it from Brighton back to Nottingham at normal motorway speeds. It felt terrible because it was only running on 5 cylinders, but it drove at 70 miles per hour for 200 miles. It got me home. I had one broken coil in the whole pack, so I just replaced a single. Had it been the old-fashioned system, if it was the single coil like this, I wouldn't have made the journey. Now, these are kind of strange. They've got, I think it's got inside, this is just an alloy casing. Let's just wait for that car to pass. Inside the casing, it has like a central rod. It's probably about as thick as your finger. I'm pretty sure that's iron, and it's wrapped and wrapped and wrapped and wrapped with literally meters and meters and meters of very thin copper wire, which is insulated, and the current has to pass in one end and out of the other, but it travels over literally meters and meters and meters. I don't know, maybe 100 meters or more of this curled up copper wire. There's an awful lot. The current has to go that whole distance. Over time, the what's it called, the insulation is the word I'm scratching around for, beg your pardon. The insulation breaks down inside. The copper's fine and the iron's fine. It's whatever is insulating the copper wire. It degrades. So what happens is the electricity will take a shortcut. It won't go literally hundreds of meters all the way around. It takes a shortcut through, through the iron core, and it loads of the current's lost. And that's what happens. Now, this one could be losing. It could be losing current. I don't know. I haven't measured it with, I've got an ohmmeter. I haven't measured. I've just bought a brand new one. I'm simply going to fit this. To be truthful with you, I'm having a bit of difficulty getting the old one off. I'm just waiting for the WD-40 to sink in. There's a huge big screwdriver head, a Phillips head. It's really stuck now. I'm going to struggle. The one on the left hand side's come off fine. The one on the right hand side, I'm really struggling. I do think it's been there 37 years. I don't think that's ever been off. I'm sure that's probably the original part from 1984. So if I can get it off, I would literally just replace this directly. There's four wires, 2 on each side, and the central lead. If I can get that off, it's a 5-minute job. Well, it's not when. I will get it off. It's just a bit of a nuisance. So I'm absolutely confident that the new one will run for at least, I don't know, you probably replace this maybe after 10 years as a matter of course. That's been on there considerably longer. The paint started to wear off. It really is an old part, but I'll stop the video here, and I'll fight on a bit harder and see if I can't get these big screws out.